All right, guys, let's be real for a minute. You've got the right to be comfortable in whatever you're wearing, no matter what you're doing. That is where Public Rec comes in. Their pants are designed to be as comfortable as your favorite sweats, but way more stylish. We're talking super soft fabric, no stiff seams, and enough stretch. That's what allows you to keep up with no matter what your day throws at you. And you want to know my personal favorite part about Public Rec? Generally, you only get to choose between small, medium, large, extra large sizes. With Public Rec, you select the exact width and length that you need. These will be your best fitting pants. Public Rec not only has the best fitting pants ever made, but they have a huge selection of high quality, everyday, premium styles. You can revamp your entire wardrobe with their polos, shorts, and hoodies. So this February, I encourage you to step up your comfort game with Public Rec. You know, it's about time that you treat yourself. For a limited time, all my listeners can get 20% off their order at publicrec.com by simply using code Sonnen. When you get there, tell them Chael sent you.
Jon Jones versus Alex Pereira. How real is that fight? Oh, and by the way, what would have to happen for us to get it? Now, I was asked this question. I was actually asked this question, and a real lazy answer would be, well, to make the fight, we go get a contract and make the fight. Okay. But that kind of ruins all the fun if you just throw that out there. I'm being real realistic. Let's follow some things about history. Let's even follow some things about now. The idea of a double champion is not a loved idea at the UFC. It never has been. And even in the exceptions and a few of the times that we've had a double champion as somebody that was great enough, it didn't create for all of the best moments. Like if I was to ask you who are all the double champions in history, if you're a real fight nerd, you could sit down and come up with it. But only because you're a fight nerd. You would not come up with it because each of those double champions, somewhere in the process of double championships, created such an amazing moment. Like if I was to ask you when Amanda was double champion, who did she fight? Oh, and by the way, at which weight class was she defending? You'd be stuck. Even if you got that answer correctly, you'd be stuck. There was nothing that we've seen really historically that is overly monumental about the double champion. Now, that doesn't always have to have been true. Like there was times if Anderson Silva would have moved up, wow, that would have been amazing. I think if Jon Jones would have moved up, it would have been amazing. I mean, Jon's so good, but Jon does misunderstand. Jon thought he was too small. He thought he needed to be bigger. That's the part where I say, you're wrong. Jon could have just moved up right away, not given us the 3-year layoff. There was times in Matt Hughes' career he could have bumped up. There was times in Khabib's career. So it's not as though these super fights should have never been made, but once we understand that it's really not ideal, we gotta have a pretty good reason for doing it. And if I look at Pereira Jones, that fight does seem to me to be very easy to make if Pereira were to lose to Ankalaev. Now, all of a sudden, Pierre moves up. You've still got the Aspinall and Jon, and that's still the fight to make, and that problem's about to get figured out. But you also put in a little bit of an easier position as a matchmaker. Even though you want to make that fight, making a fight at heavyweight for a title, at least by probability, by just basic numbers, is now twice as easy to do. And I think that if you were to ever get to a Pereira Jones, I think it's because you have not gotten to an Aspinall Jones. I have two very strong personal and unique beliefs. The first of which is that Jon Jones has never turned down the fight with Alex Pereira, that you believe he has. My personal and strongly belief is that Jon has never actually been offered that fight. I want to start with that. Because secondly, I do believe after that fight, Jon is going to be done. I don't think you'll see Jon compete anymore. So, I will stand by, if you get to Jones-Pereira, it's because we failed to get to Jones-Aspinall. And I am triply as confident that Jones will be in there, either with Pereira or with Aspinall, as his final fight. If Pereira was to lose to Ankalaev, For example, Pereira could be a heavyweight the very next day and there'd be no pushback. Many of you forgot how Pereira became a light heavyweight. Most people, I even hear commentators in this sport say it. It's like something got crossed in their mind. They believe that Pereira cleaned out the middleweight division and was so big that he moved up to light heavyweight. They're wrong. Pereira lost at middleweight. He was no longer the champion. He was no longer the guaranteed headlining act that's going to close out the show because he's no longer the world champion. So it was very easy for him to just make a phone call the next day and say, hey, by the way, when you rebook me, book me in my new class of 205 pounds. So your most likely way to get to Pereira from 205 pounds to heavyweight, your most likely way is not that he beats Ankalaev and has nothing left to do and cleans out the division. That's what your mind's telling you, but you actually got that wrong. The most likely and easiest way to get Pereira to heavyweight is for Ankalaev to beat him. Now, if he's coming off of a loss, could he step right into a title fight with Jones? Unlikely. It's very unlikely. And Jones will not sidestep Aspinall to fight Pereira. He won't do that. Jones will fight the right guy. Like, he's got a code. As frustrated as you guys might be with Jon right now, Jon does have a code. And Jon will, when he fights, fight the best guy. But there is a chance that if both those guys are in the same weight class, Jon says, you two go figure out who the best guy is. Bring me the winner. Pereira, you and Aspinall, go do that thing for that interim title. Let me know who the winner is. And in that vein, it would take a year, and there's a lot of ifs and ands, but there is definitely a road for Pereira to Jones. I think that a conversation, even as a piece on the checkboard, even if just a negotiated tool, but I believe a conversation about a fight between Pereira and Aspinall is very likely. And depending on the outcome of Pereira Ankalaev, the Aspinall-Pereira conversation is not only likely, it's very likely going to happen soon.